My ring is messed up. It's messing with the finger flutters. Hello, welcome back. It's so good to see you. So, today we are going to be doing a neighborhood gossip video. I haven't done one in, I don't even know how long. It's been months and months, and I know you've been asking, so I finally have stuff to talk about, so yay. Before we get into the video, I do want to mention a few things. I have my notes over here so I don't forget, Okay, my video editing thing has been messing with me, okay? It's not working right. I reported it and they're like, no, it's a problem on your end. So my husband redid everything, deleted. It's still not working. So my daughter gave me told me about another editing app that she uses to make her at-home movies or whatever. So I'm gonna try that out because I want to post pictures in this video. If you saw my what I've been watching video, there were no pictures. I did note in there it's because my stupid editing thing is being dumb, but I really like talking about things and posting pictures so that you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to be using a different editing thing, and I'm not paying for it yet, so there may be a watermark. I don't know. It's just, we're testing it out. Hopefully you will get to see the pictures that I'm talking about in this video. Also, I'm waiting on a call from my son's school. Nobody's in trouble or anything. It's just they lost some paperwork on my son, and I'm like, what? So I might have to pause the video. My phone is on vibrate. It's on my leg, so if you hear vibrate, I'll be right back. So today, I always like to have some type of snack or something. So I have this little salsa bowl, and we're gonna have chips and salsa. What? Chips and salsa is the absolute best, and I have these little bitty bite-sized chips. I feel like maybe I should have this over here, away from the computer. Maybe this wasn't the best snack. Chips and salsa is the best. I could eat it all day long, every single day. Anyway, so let's get into the gossip. Now, I don't know. I feel like this isn't very oh my god, you're not gonna believe this. But it's more this is some weird stuff that's been going on. Okay, so I know you guys always want to know about pink shirt and red shirt. If you don't know who I'm talking about, go watch the other videos first. Okay, so this is stuff that happened over the summer up until today. Pink shirt, she didn't have a job for a while because she had a baby and she took some time off, and then she was doing Grubhub stuff or Uber Eats, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, she quit that and she got some type of I don't want to say real job because being a driver for Grubhub and whatever, that is a real job, but a job at one place. So she put on Facebook that she got this job, but she's gonna need somebody to watch her kids over the summer. And so I was looking at the thing and I was like, what? Okay, because the ad, she has 3 kids. They are, I will drop salsa on me. I always do. So be prepared. But she has 3 kids and they are 2, 5, and 8. So that's going to be a handful, okay? But she said, I need you to work from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Watching 3 kids for $250 a week. And I'm like, that could be okay, you know, but then I started thinking about her kids and I'm like, that really isn't okay because I did some math and it's money math, but I'm still bad at math. So if this is wrong, don't judge me, whatever, I don't care. But so $250 a week for 3 kids for 11 hours, okay? That's $50 a day. Or for 55 hours a week, you're getting paid $4.55 roughly for 3 kids for 11 hours, 5 days a week. Is that just me, or is that like a bad deal for the person who's going to be watching the kids? I feel like it's a bad deal. But if you need $250 a week, I mean, good deal, you know, I guess. But considering her kids are insane and destructive and crazy, that's going to be a handful for somebody, right? So I don't know if somebody actually took the job, but I do know that a new car was like parked there and she was gone. So I don't know if it was somebody from like her family or what, you know. Whatever. She worked there, wherever it was, for like a month. And then she posted on Facebook. This woman is like so open on Facebook. We're not even Facebook friends. This is stuff she's posting on the neighborhood website, right? Or the neighborhood Facebook page. So I'm just, it's not like I'm being nosy or anything, you know. I'm just reading what appears on my page. So, like a month later, she posted that she got let go from her job. And I'm like, I want to know what this job was. Because, like, you did it for a month. Why would you be let go? They were obviously looking for someone. So, like, did she do something? I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway. And I know she has a degree. She used to be a sonographer. I don't know what it's called, but it's the person who like does the ultrasound stuff and like checks for the baby. That used to be her job. So I know she has a degree and a license, or I don't know. Anyway, so I thought that was weird. So she's been home, and she started dog sitting for people in the neighborhood. Day one, she was dog sitting. They would bring their dog to her house. This dog destroyed her bathroom, and it literally scratched and chewed through a door. And I'm like, did she like put it in the bathroom or something? Like, it was obviously trying to get out somewhere. I don't know. I wish I had more information on that. But anyway, so her husband started doing the furniture thing again as like a little side thing. They used to get free couches and furniture and stuff like that on Facebook and Nextdoor, and they would go get them with their truck, bring them home, and she would clean them. So they started that back up this summer, which I think is a pretty good idea. Like, I think you could actually turn that into a business. Like, if you get enough and you save enough money, you could open like a secondhand like furniture shop type thing. I don't know. But anyway, they used to make like really good money with it, so they started that again. And I'm not sure if I told you, but like a year ago, I'm not sure if I told you, so I'm going to tell you again, either because I didn't or maybe you forgot. But her husband works like 2.5 hours away. Like, move closer, right? But whatever. So he has to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then he gets home at 6 o'clock at night. because he's got to drive a real long way, you know. So about a year ago, they have an SUV, they have a truck. About a year ago, he bought a little black car. It's a nice car. And I was like, why'd you get a third car? And he was like, well, you know, it's to save money on gas. I'm confused. They have 2 cars already. But to save money on gas, he bought a brand new car. I mean, I'm not good at math, but I feel like that doesn't add up right. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't used. It was literally brand new, and he's out there like every weekend cleaning that car. But yesterday, I was leaving to go pick up the kids from school, and I saw the white truck in the driveway and her SUV. But I was like, what is that? Because I looked at the back of the truck, and there was literal, like, almost like black duct tape over the license plate. And I was like, nah, why would they, what, you know? And so when I was backing up, I like, because we're across the street from each other, so like I backed up, and then I just backed up a little bit more so I could like actually see the license plate, you know? And it has black tape on it. If I can show you the picture, editing, I will. And I was like, what the hell? So when I came home with the kids, I was like, Emma, can you like look at that truck, but don't look at it, and tell me if that has got black tape on it? Because I'm like, what the hell? And so she looks at it and she's like, yeah, Mom, that's black tape. Why would they do that? I'm like, I don't know. So when my husband comes home, I tell him, I'm like, look at that. And he was like, oh no, that's a cover or something. It was black, and you can, I was like, no. So I took a picture of it. And I zoomed in, and I was like, you can see the strips of tape, you know? That was hot. Yikes. I'm gonna try and open this water. Do you ever eat salsa and then like, it's not even hot, but somehow a pepper like goes straight to the back of your throat and you're like, oh my god. Anyway, so he was like, no, that's a cover. And I'm like, aren't covers like that illegal? I mean, that is pitch black. And he was like, oh no. So when I took the picture, I zoomed in on it and I was like, you can see the strips of black tape. Why would anybody put black tape on a license plate? Like, you can't drive that thing around anywhere because that's illegal, you know? So, like, do you know, why would anybody cover their license plate with tape? That's just so, like, weird to me. Do you know what I mean? It's weird stuff that's been going on. Like, what? Anyway, okay, so that is all that's going on with pink shirt and red shirt. So, okay. I don't know if you've noticed. This back here is different. It's like that for a reason. I wasn't happy about it at first, but I am now. So this isn't really neighborhood gossip. It's something that happened in this house. So, probably about 2 weeks ago, it was Sunday night. We had all had dinner. I was done cleaning up stuff, and I was like, I need to go take my shower. So I went upstairs, took my shower, came back downstairs, and I was sitting on the couch playing with Ava, and my son was sitting in front of the TV with my husband, because like when they play games together, they like to get closer, you know? So they had their chairs up in front of the TV and stuff, and my son was playing, and then he looked up and he was like, oh, why is the ceiling wet? I'm like, what? And I look at it, I'm like, why is the ceiling wet? What is happening? So if you don't know, when it comes to the house, I freak out real quick. So I was like, what is happening? And I'm all like jumping around like, and I get a ladder out and I touch it and I was like, it is wet. What is going on? And then it like dried up. But I was like, no, we gotta call somebody, because if there's something leaking, like, what if I go and take a shower and it like the floor is wet or something, and like it just, how do I know how much water's up there? And I'll just freaking like fall through the ceiling, like full Money Pit style. Is it Money Pit? The Money Pit? Yeah. Have you seen that movie? I think it has Tom Hanks and I can't think of the other chick, but I think she was off of Cheers. The Money Pit. And that's where my brain goes. We have a little bitty leak that's like the size of a quarter, and I'm thinking Money Pit already. That's how bad I freaked out. So I was like, we gotta call somebody. So I called like this water damage place, and they come out and they stab the ceiling with this little tool, and it's like, yeah, this is wet. And I'm like, really? Okay. I'm like, so what are we gonna do about this? And he's like, well, you have to get a claim number from the insurance. And I'm like, so I have to call the insurance and then you're gonna come back out? And he says, yeah, because we can't really do anything without the claim number. So insurance is closed, obviously, because it's Sunday night. So I call them first thing Monday morning, and I'm like, it's leaking. I need a claim number. Let's go. And they're like, yeah, we can't give you a claim number until you give us an estimate. And I'm like, but the guy who said he was going to do the estimate can't do anything without the claim number. So it's like, what's going on here? Well, they're like, well, we do use another company that like we have a good relationship with. And I'm like, okay. And they were going to send them out, and then that company could give us a quote because they work with this company or something. I don't know. It was weird. But I'm like, whatever, send them out, let's go. So some guy comes out. This guy was super like, he was a snob. I don't like him. He was trying to act cool, but like, I was like, And he found out that my husband like is into games, and so then he had to bond with my husband because he knows the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's. And like, what? I'm like, can we talk about the water? Like, anyway, so this was just the guy who came out to tell us someone else is coming out. They'll find where the thing is, blah blah blah. So this person comes out, and he's like 12 years old. I'm not even joking. I'm like, he freaking graduated high school, this summer, because he just looked so young. he was very nice, but you could tell he was like, he didn't know what he was doing. And it was like, how long have you worked with the company and stuff, and he said, oh, about 4 months. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, I was trying to be nice because I wanted my thing fixed. But I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. So he just full on cut a hole in my ceiling in the living room. And he didn't even do it nicely. It was all jaggedy and like, I'm like, oh my god, there's a hole in my house. I'll try and show pictures if I can. I'm just like, oh my god, there's a hole in my house. I don't like that, I'm like very OCD about things, and now there's a hole in my house. I can't handle it. So he cuts the hole, and he's like, I don't know where it is. I don't see anything leaking. And I'm like, well, water came from somewhere, so let's figure it out, I wasn't being mean, but like, these are my thoughts inside. And he was like, let me see, because I was like, I'm pretty sure, because it was in a spot where It's directly under their shower, you know? And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, you know? So he goes in the bathroom and he was like, no, everything seems fine. And he's like, what's on the other side? And I'm like, the studio, you know, where I record my videos. And so he comes over here and he cuts another massive, like, okay, so the whole downstairs. Sorry, there's my phone. Okay. So the whole downstairs was probably, I want to say like 12 by 14, but it was all jaggedy. And anyway, the one upstairs, he was like, well, let me cut the wall back here so we can get direct access to the shower and all the plumbing and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, this thing was like a foot wide and like 3 feet. And I'm like, oh my God. And he couldn't find anything. So he was like, maybe it's coming from the sink that's next to it. So he cut another hole. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like it. So he can't find it. And I'm like, well, what the hell are we going to do? And he's like, well, we'll send someone else out here. Cool. They're going to send a plumber out here because they can't find the leak. And I'm like, well, who are you? Like, what do you do? And they're like, we just find the leak. So there's so many people who work for this company. Anyway. And I'm like, okay. He's like, maybe the plumber can find it. So I'm like, what are we going to do about these holes? And he's like, I'll tape them up. He's like, and I have to hook up a dehumidifier. And it has to be hooked up to a massive generator, and it needs to go for 3 to 5 days. And I'm like, what? So he brings this dehumidifier like generator thing, and it's quite large. And I'm like, okay. This thing was so loud, me and my husband couldn't even hear each other talk. I was like, what? Do they not have like a quieter? And he's like, this is the quieter one. What? So he hooks up this tube from the dehumidifier up to the ceiling, and it's supposed to blow hot air in. And I'm like, because like when stuff is humid, it's like hot. So like, wouldn't that make more humid things? But they said no, it's some type of science thing that I don't understand. So whatever. So he hooks it up and then he leaves. This guy did like some weird, terrible tape job. And so there were holes everywhere. Okay. So the dehumidifier was blowing hot air all downstairs and up through the walls of my house. And it's summer, like 120 degrees outside. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because my house can't cool down because of the heat that's being blown throughout the whole house. And I was like, this thing is too hot. I did drop sauce on my desk. Oh no. So I was like, and like we were sweating, we were drenched, and I'm like, something's not right. He did it wrong or something, you know. And I was all like, he's a kid, he doesn't know what's going on. Not that I know what's going on, but I know it's not supposed to be feeling like that. So they send somebody else out at like 10 o'clock at night, and the guy's like, no, everything's right. But then he works on the thing and he redoes the little tube deal, and he hooks it up right and then turns it on. It's quieter and it's not hot in the living room. Yeah, right, that kid set it up right. I don't think so. What were you doing here for an hour then? Anyway, but I know they can't talk crap about, you know, their employees or whatever. Anyway, so I was really nice and I was like, thank you. The next day, a plumber comes out and he's like, yeah, this area, the humidity is gone. And I'm like, okay, so I can turn the thing off. And he was like, well, how long did they tell you to keep it on? And I'm like, 3 to 5 days. And he was like, yeah, that's about right. And we keep having conversations, and I'm like, but you said there's no humidity. Like, why do I have to keep it on for 3 to 5 days? And he was like, oh, I thought you said 3 to 5 hours. 3 to 5 days? No, turn that sucker off, because your electric bill is going to go through the roof. And he was like, it's not necessary. There's no humidity left. So I was like, thank God. So he can't find the leak under the ceiling. So he comes up here. There's no leaks in any of the pipes. And I'm like, what the hell is the issue? So we go to the bathroom, and he's looking at the shower. And he's like, the caulking right here looks like it's come off of the tile. And I was like, oh my God, is that it? Like, what is happening here? And so he's like, go to the other side, and I'll turn the water on just to make sure there's no leaks. And then I'll get a cup of water and pour it on top of the caulking, and we'll see, you know. So me and my husband are over here, like, literally in this hole looking at everything. And you can hear him. He's like, okay. So he turns the water on, and he waits. And I was like, there's nothing. And he was like, okay. He's like, how about now? And all of a sudden, water everywhere. And I'm like, what are you doing? It was a freaking caulking that had come apart in a specific spot. So, like, when I was taking the showers, like, water would get on the tile and then, like, slowly drip into that little section of the caulking. And so that's why it would like run down that. And apparently there's nothing between my shower and the bottom downstairs. Like, there's wood, like, panels, I don't know, that are like supporting the thing, but there's nothing in there. And I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea. It like freaked me out, and I was like, what the hell? So we caulked everything, and there has been no issues. So it was a caulking, and it was so little. It was like, oh my God. And so my husband was like feeling like a major piece of crap, because he was like, because we had seen it, and I was like, we need to redo that. But like, we've just been so busy, we're just like, we'll do it later. If you see a crack in any type of caulking, fix it immediately. Especially if you have a second-story house. And it like just freaks me out, because like, it's a shower. There's no like water reservoir thing or whatever to, like, don't ever buy a 2-story house, because just, they're the worst. Anyway, so I don't know if I already showed the picture or not, because I don't know if the editor will let me, but I have pictures of it with the little dot of wetness. Then I have pictures of the holes that the guy cut. My husband had to like straighten them a little, because my husband, he can do drywall and like stuff like that. So even though we had to go through the insurance, they're gonna give us a check to fix the holes and stuff like that. But if you hire somebody to do that, they're gonna charge you like crazy amounts. So my husband has helped build 3 houses, his grandma's, his brothers, his parents, so he knows what to do. So we went to Lowe's, because that's pretty close to our house, and we got all the stuff that we needed, and he fixed it up. I got them to paint match the ceiling, because I took the piece that the guy cut off and I took it to Lowe's, and I was like, I need an exact match to this, and they were able to do it. So the whole ceiling didn't need to be repainted. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna paint the studio. Because I've been thinking about doing it anyway, but I wanted to get a color that was very similar because I had curtains to do like noise canceling, but also I don't like just boring eggshell color walls. So I was like, I need to paint it anyway. So I painted it. Did you like it? Painting it was awful because I have to paint. I don't trust anybody, And I painted the whole downstairs. I painted my daughter's room, the whole entirety of the downstairs. So I'm like, it's one wall, no big deal. Well, I painted it before I had MS issues. So painting this one wall took hours, and like I couldn't stand up. I'd have to go up the ladder, go down the ladder, sit down, go up the ladder, go down the ladder, sit down, and like it was just awful. But I tortured myself, because my husband would do it, but I don't want him to. That's me. That's my job, Anyway, so that's what was going on with that. And there's something else very strange that happened about a month ago. Real strange. So I don't remember what day it was or what, but it was about a month ago. And I take Ava out like every 2 hours, whenever we're here. Just because she's so tiny. She's got like the littlest bladder ever, so I don't want her to, hurt to have to hold it. So I took her out at 4 o'clock. I think this was a Sunday. It might have been a Saturday, but I'm pretty sure it was a Sunday too. I took her out. She went potty. I came back inside. And then I was starting to do dinner or something like that. I was starting to cook dinner. And so I made dinner. We ate dinner. And then about 6 o'clock, I was like, I gotta take her out, So I go outside and I immediately see something in the yard, and so does Ava, because it's about like this big, and I'm like, well, what the hell is that? And so I walk up to it, but I pick her up because I don't want her to see what that is, because she's a dog. She's gonna want to know like what's going on in my yard. And it's very noticeable because my backyard isn't that big, and it's just nothing but grass. We don't have plants or anything like that. So it's just grass. So when something's there, you notice it, So I go over there, and I had Ava in this arm, and I like bent down to look at it, and I was like, oh my god. So I was like, you're not going potty right now, girl. We got a situation. So I run in the house. I put Ava down, and I'm like telling my husband, get out here right now. So he comes out there, and he's like, what's going on? And I was like, go over there. What is that? And he's like, what is that? So he goes over there, and he bends down, and he's like, what the hell? And I was like, yeah. It was a big Ziploc bag. I think it was about a gallon size. Prepare yourself. It's not good. It was full of poop. And it had been thrown. And the Ziploc bag busted on impact. Oh, hold on. Sorry, that was my daughter's band teacher. He canceled after school practice. She's playing the euphonium. Did I tell you that? She showed me videos on YouTube because I was like, what is euphonium? I was like, wow, that's amazing. I like it because it's not loud, right? The videos that I watched, they weren't loud. She brings this thing home. It's like a tuba and a saxophone combined or something. And she puts the little buzzer thing in and she starts to play, and it's so loud. I'm like, what is this? You said it was gonna be quiet. And she's like, this is one of the quiet ones. And I'm like, oh my god, what did we sign up for? Anyway, so that's fun. So it's a big bag of poop that has exploded on impact. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, oh my god, we're being targeted. Because I'm like, what? Like, I don't get it. Like, what? So, my neighbors, the English neighbors, they have, they got cameras around their house, you know? I don't think they have any in the backyard, but they have it on the side because they're on the corner. So they want cameras on the side, and then they have cameras in the front. And their cameras on the front, he showed them to me before, and it shows my whole driveway and front yard. So I was like, I gotta go next door. I'll be right back. I cleaned it up before I left because I needed Ava to go potty, you know. But I needed to talk to my neighbor because I wanted to look at its camera footage. So he pulls up the camera footage, and I was like, it happened between 4 and 6 because I took her out at 4. I made dinner, we had dinner. At 6, I took her out to go potty, and it was there. So he checked his cameras between 4 and 6, and he found nothing. And I'm like, what? And he's like, it had to have come from that way or that way. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This sucks. I was like, oh my gosh, this sucks, because I figured that maybe somebody had come in between our fences because it was closer in between our fences, you know? So I was like, he would have caught them on camera. And if they came from over this way and threw it that way, that would be on camera too. So it could only have come from the New York people or the lady who never cleans her dog poop behind us. So I was just like, no, they would, because I know all my neighbors, nobody would do that, you know? So I was just thinking, I'm like, who would do this? Why? What a weird thing to do, you know? What? So I was just like, for, you know, a week or two, just like, what's going on, you know? Like, this is crazy. And so my neighbor, he's an ex-police officer, he's retired now, but he's like, you should fill out a report. I was like, what? Come on, I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, if something like this is going on in the neighborhood, they'll have a record of this. So take a picture, file a police report, you know, so whatever. And I was just like, I don't need a record, you know. If somebody does it again, totally, I understand, you know. But I was like, I already cleaned it up. I can't take pictures. I'm not, you know, I can't do that. And so, anyway, so freaking weird, right? 2 days ago, I'm looking at Facebook, and somebody posted on the neighborhood Facebook thing saying, does anybody else have issues with people throwing bags of poop in your yard? And I was like, oh my god. I immediately was like telling my husband, like, we're not alone. It's a serial poop bag thrower. Like, what? And so they did take a picture of it, and I was like, oh my god. And then there were comments on it, and other people were like, yes, what is going on here, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, so it's gotta be like teenagers just messing with people or something. And they must be really good at throwing, because if it came from this direction, they had to throw all the way, like they must be in football or something, because that's a pretty large distance to throw this way or this way, you know? So it's like, what? Super strange. But I'm not alone. It's happening. It's happening. Super weird. But anyway, so another thing that's happened is my English neighbors. I think I told you about it before. Their son, one of their sons, was in nursing school, and he flunked out. But he's in finance, and so he was looking for a job, and he got a job, like, I think in Boston, I think. And I was like, oh no, are you guys moving? And they were like, no, we're not going anywhere. So I was talking to them, and like, they were kind of like a little bit happy. Because when he was in school, his wife is a science teacher at a high school in the area, and so she would have to go to school super early and to teach, and he would have to go to school super early to learn, you know. So they would drop the grandkids off, and they would take them to school and pick them up, and then when they were out of, you know, their classes and school, they would come and pick up the kids. Well, apparently their grandkids are quite a handful, and he was very excited towards the beginning of summer because they were going to be going to Boston. So they got a little break. And I'm like, aren't they like moving up there? What do you mean a little break, you know? And he said, no. The wife is not quitting her job. The kids are not moving schools. They're staying here in Texas while the dad is in Boston. And I'm like, how's that gonna work? So they went there over the summer for like 2 months and then came back. And I'm like, how's that gonna work? Like, how can you live in two cities like that, you know? And they said that their son's plan was to work in Boston for 2 years. 2 years, in hopes that there will be a position at the same company that opens up in Houston, because that company is in Houston, that financial whatever is in Houston, but they don't have any openings in Houston. So he's got to put in his time and then ask for a transfer. So I'm like, these people are going to be living separately for 2 years. That's not going to work. Like, I mean, they're going to have to make it work, but like, that is going to be hard, not just on the kids, but also on their marriage. Like, it was hard for me and my husband. We didn't even have kids when he went to the Army, and because we were separated for like almost a year, because he had to go to boot camp, then he had to go to AIT, and then he had to go to his first station, and, or I don't know what they call it anyway. And then we had to wait for a house to open up, and then I was able to move. He took some days off to come here and then help move everything to Fort Worth. I'm actually wearing the shirt. Anyway, so I'm like, and that was really hard. Like, we even talked every day. It was just difficult. Like, we saw each other on holidays and stuff, but like, it definitely puts a strain, you know. And the fact that they have kids, that's gonna be real hard. You know what I mean? And apparently he only works 4 days out of the week. So, like, if he works Monday through Thursday night, he's going to fly down here, be able to be with the kids Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday he has to leave and fly back to start work all over again. And I'm like, he can't do that every day. And he's like, I know, but that's what they are planning to do. Or sometimes they can come like on a 3-day weekend or something like that. I'm just like, oh my god, that is like, I'm stressing out just thinking about it. But they were kind of like relieved over the summer because they didn't have to deal with the stress, because apparently those kids are very like demanding. He put it in other words, but they're very demanding and tricky. So they were kind of happy about that. Okay. Another thing that I hope the picture thing works, because this is just something in the neighborhood. So, like, our neighborhood is connected to another neighborhood, like in the back. There's like a back road. Anyway, there are these 3 neighborhoods that are actually all connected. But, so like anytime we go to the store or like my parents' house, we go the back way because it's much quicker than going out the front. So this other neighborhood that is connected to ours has this mailbox, and I'm not going to show it to you yet, but it has this mailbox, and it is shaped like a pig. Okay, I think it's made out of wood that they put on their mailbox. I don't know if they like screwed it in or nailed it in or what, but it's a pig, and it's painted bright pink, which is fine. You do what you want. But to deliver the mail, you have to open the little door, right? Well, the little door is his butt. So to put mail in, you have to open his butt and then shove the mail in his butt. I think it's hilarious. I'm like, oh my gosh. And my son, he likes to, every time we go by it, he's like, I want to see the pig. I want to see the pig, you know? And like, I just thought it was funny. But my husband, oh my gosh, he really likes driving past that pig. Because he like, he turns it into something inappropriate. And then we both came up with a scenario. I'm telling you, me and my husband, we should have like a podcast or a video thing when we're in the car, because we are our funniest in the car. Like, it's weird. But he was like, or I said, wouldn't it be weird or funny if they had like this motion detector, and then when you put the mail in, it like oinks? You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, but it needs to be like kind of sexual. I'm not gonna do it. But it's like, oh, oink. But in a very inappropriate way. And I'm like, oh my God, that has to happen. So like every time we pass it, my husband has to shout or scream the oh, oink, but in a specific way. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like, why does it have to be the butt? Anyway, okay. So, the last thing, it's really not neighborhood gossip. I was just trying to make it be neighborhood gossip, but I don't know. So, I'm on Facebook, and you know how Facebook is like, these are pages that you would like, you know? And I never look at those or anything, but I saw this one and I was like, what is this? And it says, are we dating the same person? Neighborhood edition. Okay. And I'm like, what? So I click on it, and it says people in this neighborhood, which is this neighborhood, this neighborhood, this neighborhood, and that neighborhood, are all in this thing, and you have to request to join it. And I'm like, what does this mean? Are we dating the same person? And I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I'm gonna join this. So if somebody else that we know is in this, just know that. Because I don't want them to be like, oh my God, she's, you know, dating people. And then tell my husband she's, you know, like. And he said, I would never think that. I would automatically assume it was for your channel or something. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I don't even know that if this group will accept me. But I was like, because it says that I'm married, you know? So I joined the group, and they let me join. Like, I submitted it and they let me join. So I'm like, what the hell is this website about? Like, or this Facebook page about? And it's supposed to help women. It's like a women's thing. Um, Women who are dating in these neighborhoods around here. Because a lot of times they think that shady things are going on. So that's why it's called Are We Dating the Same Person? And they will post pictures from their dating app of guys who contact them. And they're like, yeah, we've gone out a few times. Does anybody know him? Does he belong to anybody else? And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening here? And there will always be comments like, oh, this person dated my cousin, and gives all the freaking dating history and dirt on these guys. And I'm like, oh my God, the drama on this freaking page. I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And then every once in a while, there'll be a guy who's on there and nobody knows him. And they're like, it looks like he's good to go. You got a good one, girl, you know? And, but it's like, internet detectives, they're like, okay, does his name start with this? Because they don't give any personal information about the guy. They just post a picture and talk about their situation with him. And they're like, does his name start with T? And it's like, yes. And they're like, girl, this is exactly who this is, and blah blah blah, steer clear because blah blah blah. Or like this there was this picture one day, this guy had texted this girl like, hey baby, you're so beautiful, you know, let's get together soon. But he sent it as like this forward thing. And so it sent it to like 47 women at once, but it all showed the other women. And he was like, didn't realize this sent to everyone. Bye. It was so funny. I was just like, oh my gosh. But I'm like, dude, what? Because sometimes people will post a picture and then that picture is taken, that picture is taken down, and then like a few days later, a week or two later, somebody will post the picture again, and they were like, this was taken down because some of the guys are actually good guys, but they don't want their information out there. And they know a friend of a friend who says your picture was on this or whatever. So they'll contact the administrator and be like, look, my daughter knows somebody that's in this thing. Can you please take this down or whatever? Which I agree. At first I was like, this is really good. It's very helpful for women, you know, or anybody that's dating, really. Dude, if you're dating right now, like, I didn't realize it was that bad out there. Like, from reading stuff on this site, like, dude, there are some good people out there, but there's a lot of shady people, like, real bad. And I'm just like, thank goodness I do not have to be dating. Like, I feel for people who are out there dating. Not, it doesn't look fun at all. But I also, like, I don't know if I'm going to stay in this group because it is interesting. And it's like, oh, what if I find somebody that I know that's on there, you know? Like, that would be interesting. But it's also kind of like messed up, you know? Like, because people are putting all this guy's stuff out there for anybody who is like part of the group, you know? There are certain guidelines that you have to abide by and stuff like that. But, like, half these guys don't know that their stuff is just out there, you know? And I'm just like, is that even allowed? Like, I don't know. So anyway, I thought that was super weird, and I don't know if that is okay or not. I don't know, but it is helpful, you know, for the women who are looking for somebody who is actually good, because there are some on there, like, some people are like, does anybody know this guy? We've been talking for a few weeks and he wants to meet up. And like so many people are being like, yeah, I went to high school with him, or I work with him, or, you know, like, I'm his cousin or something like that. And they're like, this guy is so good, you know, he was in a bad relationship here, like, you know, but he's actually a really good guy, and blah 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 blah. And so everybody, like, encourages this person to, you got a good one, you know, take that to the bank. But like, so it is helpful, but it's also like some of the stuff is not nice, you know what I mean? I don't know. So I don't know how I feel about that site. I don't know. Anyway, so that is all the, I guess, neighborhood gossip. So it wasn't very like drama-y. It was just like there's a lot of weird stuff going on, you know. But anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.